And welcome, Rattler fans, to a very special edition of Talkin Rattlers with adventures never out of season. Chad Peters already displaying the Nelson Wolff Stadium field. I'm David Tovar. Chad, I was telling you, this got to be the coolest locale we've done in our Talkin Rattler history.
A lot of history here on this field. A lot of professional baseball players have played here. A lot of Dodgers, Mariners. Felix Hernandez, one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball.
The AL Cy Young 2010 winner. The Padres now. There's a lot of future Padres here.
Maybe some future Major League Baseball stars behind us right now.
Indeed. The number one ranked team in the country, our St. Mary's Rattlers, right now practicing behind us, taking some swings. And Chad, it has been a tremendous season for them and a tremendous span they've had here in the last 2 weeks.
And it's funny, we've been monitoring all these national rankings, and it seems like a dip or a drop-off when they fall to number 3. Yeah. You go, oh, we're only number 3 in the country.
That's kind of we hit the panic button and stuff. And I'll tell you, I get a little greedy. I want to be number 1 now throughout.
Number 1 in one poll, we're number 2 in 3 others. So what that tells you is that we're unanimously considered one of the top 2 teams in the country, eyeing that unanimous top spot. Yeah. Tampa is above us in some of the polls. We went unbeaten last week. They lost the game, but we did not rise above them in some of the polls nonetheless. I'll tell you, this is going to be a big week. Yeah. Got Texas A&M Kingsville here tonight, this Tuesday evening, a team that beat us pretty handily at their place. They've been on the cusp of being a top 25 team in the country. And then we've got St. Ed's here, well, not here, but here in San Antonio across town this weekend, a big series that will essentially decide the Heartland Conference regular season title, and 2 series of games that will also probably decide that top ranking as well.
And that game tonight, you can catch it right here on Rattlers Ustream Live. First pitch is about 6 o'clock right here from Nelson Wolff. And then that's going to be a big game, as you mentioned. Let's see if we can gain a measure of revenge. And then the big one is going to be Oyster Bake weekend. It'll be St. Edwards. They're number 2 in the Heartland Conference. And, you know, it was funny talking to Ken Witt, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, last time we were here at Nelson Wolff. He said, who would have thought it's going to come down to this weekend's games. He said that weekend, this weekend's games, and really going to decide who's number 1.
And St. Mary's, you know, we only have 4 Heartland Conference losses. We're number 1 in the country, but only a 2-game lead over St. Ed's entering this weekend series. So absolutely a pivotal makeup of what's going to happen here this weekend. St. Ed's beat us twice out of 3 games at their place earlier this year. So our guys undoubtedly wanting some revenge on St. Ed's and a right to host the Heartland Conference tournament.
Yeah, you know, Chad, it's been a great season for our boys. Just an equal measure of the bats really getting hot. I mean, how many Heartland Conference hitters of the week have we had? We've had Richard Raygoza. We've had Kokonos.
And Kokonos has been on fire.
Yeah.
And then all the pitchers. We've had Carl O'Neill get it several times. Renee Solis has been the pitcher of the week. Sky Severance has been right there on the cusp as well. And Sky Severance, speaking of him, he's been walking by quite a bit throughout this broadcast. And the program story inside today's program written by Robin Johnson. So be sure to check that out, or ask us for your copy if you can't make it out to the game. But here's a guy who's lost 1 game in 2 years as a Rattler. I think he's 5-0 this year. He was 7-1 last year. He's your number 3 guy.
Yeah.
What a luxury for St. Mary's to have a senior number 3 pitcher that has 1 loss in 2 seasons.
And speaking of his fellow pitcher, Carl O'Neill will be on the show with us in the next segment, so stay with us. Some pretty interesting questions I know you have for him. What a sensational year, 1.31 ERA. When you would post his ERA before, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I mean, some incredible numbers. You always had to post. No typo here. I mean, the number was just incredible.
Yeah, he was rocking about a .37 ERA for a while. It's gone up to a 1.3.
Oh, yeah.
So amazing.
And it's more greed shown by us. We don't like that number. Yeah.
But interestingly, Robin was telling us that Carl, I believe, after he had that game, he had a rough game where he gave up 7 runs. He shaved his head, basically, after the game, wanted a clean start. Yeah. That's one of the questions we'll be asking him when he comes on air.
Indeed, so stick around for that. That'll be in the next segment. And also stick around for the game this afternoon. 6 o'clock is the start time right here on Rattlers Ustream Live. Well, moving on to their counterparts, the softball team right about to wrap up their home schedule. They got 1 more. That's tomorrow over at the SAISD Sports Spring Complex against crosstown rival Incarnate Word. Well, what a way to close out their stand here at home for this season.
And it'll be a nice home finale especially for Jared Gonzalez. She comes back after a 3-game series on the road at Newman. She hit 5 home runs, grand slam in Game 1, 3 solo shots in Game 2, and a home run in Game 3 that dented the Newman scoreboard. So she comes in 11 RBIs, 7 runs scored, just an amazing week, player of the week undoubtedly in the Heartland Conference last week. So we'll see what she can do here on the home turf as well. And it was funny, Robin and I were getting the stats after that game, and the kind of full disclosure, the stats came in wrong.
Oh.
Game 1, the home run is listed as 2 RBIs, but with bases loaded. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what did she get? It looks like a grand slam. We're trying to interpret all this stuff. So we kept posting the Facebook updates, and we kept realizing that the stats were kind of wrong. And we posted first she had like 2 or 3 home runs. Then we had updated she had 4. No, she's had 5. It just went on and on. So we could not count. We can tell Jared that she hit more homers than we could count last week. And a phenomenal showing, and hopefully the Lady Rattlers can build on that entering this final weekend as well.
And of course, that game tomorrow, that'll wrap up the softball homestand. It won't be at home, of course. It won't be on the softball fields. It'll be over at the SIZ.
They're on campus. If you haven't seen it yet, drive by VJ Keefe, drive by the softball field. You won't be able to see where the softball field was anymore.
No.
And VJ Keefe already, the structure being taken down, where the old ticket booth used to be, no more. So,
and I know you'll definitely be driving through since it's Oyster Bay weekend. And of course, we're going to get to that in our third segment. But for right now, stay with us, Rattler fans. More upcoming. Carl O'Neill next right here on Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season.
So Res Life thought that we'd try to build some more morale in the halls, and
And we welcome you back. We're joined now by St. Mary's ace, Carl O'Neill. Carl, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Carl, I know you're excited about this interview. He's not. But tell me seriously, what's this year been like for you? I mean, you guys are #1, and your season for you've been #1 nationally amongst pitchers for so much of the year. What's that been like?
It's been pretty good. I mean, it's a lot less stressful when your team's behind you and you're winning, and you got plenty of other guys that are stepping up too, so it feels really good.
More nerve-wracking, giving up a run or putting on the headset for this interview?
Probably putting on the headset. Yeah. So.
We heard through a good source that after you had the one rough game, everyone's allowed a rough game. You gave up 7 runs against Permian Basin. You kind of wanted to change the pace, cut the hair a little bit shorter. Is that right?
Kind of went with a fresh start.
Yeah.
So threw away the cleats, threw away glove, threw away the hair. Just went with everything new.
Really?
So yeah.
And you bounced back with a shutout on the road. So did it work for you?
It wasn't a shutout. I gave up one earn.
That's right,
yeah. But no, I mean, it felt good. Felt like I'd just kind of start new, got right back in it. So hopefully it'll extend to the rest of the season.
Now, when you go on the mound and you've had that, just ridiculously low ERA all season, do you think about that at all, or is it, how do you kind of put that in the back of your mind and not worry about it?
Oh, I don't really pay attention that much to it. I mean, because even if I throw a shutout, it won't go down very much. So, I mean, I'm just worried about getting our team up right away, because we play a lot better. Looking at especially stats, when we're leading, say, first, second inning, we're pretty much undefeated. So hopefully I can get in there right away and put up zeros, that way we can get ahead.
You guys last year graduated 3 of the best pitchers in the conference, one of whom got drafted into the major leagues. Sammy Rivas, Greg Herbst, Matt Holland. Seemed like coming into this year pitching would be a concern perhaps, and it's gotten maybe even better. How have you, Renee, Jonathan, Sky, and the rest of the group come in and done what you've done?
Well, I mean, we're really confident over the summer coming in, because me, Sky, and Bumpus all went and played together and came in. I knew Sky was going to do great, did great over the summer. Bumpus did amazing over the summer, so I knew coming in we'd have plenty of guys to pitch. So I wasn't worried about it.
Regional tournament last year, the pitching staff, we had to use a lot of arms there early on. And I remember when it was your turn to go, everybody in the press box was saying, we basically need Carl to go a whole game today to preserve the rest of the arms. You did essentially that, preserving the team's hopes through the regional tournament. What did that do when you look now what you've done this season to kind of jumpstart where you're at today?
I thought I was in better shape last year. I mean, the whole 9-inning thing, that's what I wanted to throw, but it seems like trouble getting through 7 now, but we'll see how it goes once I start throwing the 9 innings.
And lastly, Carl, the national rankings, we started this interview off talking about that. Do you all keep an eye on that? What does that do to motivate and continue driving you guys?
We have fun with it. We're kind of just, we go around, we're just like number 1, just kind of joking around with it, but we know it doesn't mean much. Well, in the end is when it means the most, so we don't really pay attention too much to it.
Carl, appreciate it, buddy.
No problem.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
That was Carl O'Neill, star pitcher of the St. Mary's Rattlers. You're watching Talkin Rattlers. We'll be right back.
And welcome back, Rattler fans. Chad Peters now joined by, I haven't won the Heartland Conference pitcher of the week.
You're not the pitcher of the week. You don't have any conference championships to your name. I don't even know why you're on air.
But I do the Rattler fans thing, so that's why you keep me employed. But one thing I am more than employed for and more than ready for, oyster bake. The funnest time of the year as a St. Mary's student. You're a St. Mary's alum, and as a member of the St. Mary's community, anywhere around San Antonio. It's the kickoff to Fiesta San Antonio. Chad, I asked you for baby bake, what was your favorite part of it? So now I'll ask you, what's your favorite part of the big oyster bake?
I think the music, the main music stage has always been kind of my thing.
Okay.
I remember Alter Bridge came out and performed.
You were Alter Bridge. I saw that one.
And that was my introduction to Miles Kennedy. I went to see the Miles Kennedy Slash tour. Slash of Guns N' Roses has brought on Miles Kennedy for his solo album. So it's gone on. I have not seen many concerts in my day, but I've seen Miles Kennedy 3 times live. So I don't know how that's
for some reason, you guys going to find each other. I was at Alter Bridge. I want to tell you that was April 2008, which was my junior year in high school. That
I want to say 06 as well, I think.
No, they came 06?
Or 05. They came twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I went to the 08 one. And that was my first real memory of oyster bake, and from there I've had the streak. This is going to be my 5th straight year.
Nice.
And Everclear I think was at that one too. They did a great job. They covered a song, and I forgot which one it was. And then some unruly fan was able to get to their merchandise and just started flinging shirts. I have an Everclear shirt I caught, which was a fun memory. Saliva came, I believe, 2 years ago?
Yeah, they were recent, 2 years.
When it rained, and it was raining during the performance, so it was 2 years ago. It was really muddy. one of the drawbacks to oyster bake when it's muddy. And then last year, I really can't remember what band was the headliner.
I can't remember last year's either.
Yeah.
I was stuck in the media tent last year, not able to make it out to the concert. This year, Smash Mouth coming out
On Friday.
Who are some of the other big draws you've seen?
Bobby V coming out from in the hip hop stage, huge fan. My main man AJ Hearns, a San Antonio product, coming out on the hip hop stage. And then Saturday, I believe the headlining band is Buck Cherry.
Buck Cherry.
Buck Cherry's the headlining band. And then you got Bobby Pulido coming out. He's a former St. Mary's student.
Nice.
I think he went for 2 years or so, but former St. Mary's student, has ties to the university. I believe he was in a fraternity. Can't remember which one off the top of my head, but that's the one I'm going to on Saturday. That will be working the communications tent as well.
Come check us out. We'll be in front of the UC, kind of
signing
between
autographs.
the UC and the Bill Greehey School of Business building.
Yeah,
maybe a Talkin Rattlers could break out. Probably not, but you never know.
Well, we could do one for a live crowd if we get enough people.
Yeah.
I think the communication stand, I think it's next to the beads and stuff. They sell beads and the little pins. I was able to buy beads. Didn't get to use them, but I got to buy them, and I got some. I've been collecting pins for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
so,
gotta have your medals and the.
I can't wait till I turn 50 and I have like the collection of 25 or 25, 26 of them. True and Fiesta fashion.
The media tent, always an interesting booth because people don't really know what it is exactly. Our main purpose to help media coming out, we give them notes and whatnot, kind of help escort them around, but also, the catch-all for people wanting to know where to go. We have maps and all these things. I will never forget last year, my first time working the tent, we had someone came out asking where the tequila and clams were. We told him you found the wrong bake. This is oyster bake. We got oysters and beer. We don't have tequila and clams.
Wow.
And then someone else came out, a young lady wanting to be on air, asking, is this where you get on TV? And we're like, no, this is the media tent, where media comes. And she goes, oh, well, I need to be on TV. Kind of flipped her hair and walked off. And so that was my foray.
So you're looking for an audition. Yeah. Well, she could have been on Talkin Rattlers if this was a year ago. Well, Chad, I'm excited for the music, as you said. Now I'm excited for frozen lemonade. I love raspas and steak on a stick. And, I forgot they didn't have steak on a stick at Baby Bake. They do have it at the Big Oyster Bake. Cannot wait for that. Excited. Now I got to put you on the spot. Do you like oysters?
I love them. Love oysters.
Really?
I'll be eating some raw oysters in the morning, I'm pretty sure. Kind of oyster shots in the cup.
Yeah.
Plan to have some fried oysters later on. All with Tabasco sauce, preferably, if it's available. Probably mix in a hamburger, maybe a steak on a stick. Some chocolate-covered strawberries, probably. Maybe a chicken on a stick at some point.
Oh, wow.
So I plan to go all out. I'm going to be working that booth from about 10 a.m. until probably 11 at night. So have to get my 3 meals in.
You're going to pack it in, aren't you? Yeah. It's one of those weekends to pack it in. Remember, that is at St. Mary's University. Of course, I don't think I have to plug that and not to tell you. But it will be Friday and Saturday. Friday from 5 to 11. And then on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
So Saturday, a broadcast for baseball will still go on.
Yeah.
Most likely having Robin Johnson on the air. We will have video feed, though, throughout. So just kind of a programming note there. We'll be shorthanded because everyone having to work oyster bake, but we will have a broadcast for the baseball game nonetheless as a baseball comes flying by and almost taking out the production studio.
Yeah, it makes a cameo appearance. Well, that will do it for us here on the field at Nelson Wolff Stadium. We remind you to stay tuned. 6 p.m. is the start time as the St. Mary's Rattlers take the field. For Chad Peters, I'm David Tovar, wishing you, Robin Johnson looking at me, hey, I'm working the boards too. We wish you a happy and a very safe and productive oyster bake weekend. You've been watching Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season.